I gave a small brief in 2019 spring to the Secret Service, and the summary was that if China and big tech are not reeled in within one, maximum 2 years, they endanger all the world's citizens, including microbiota terrorism, which includes microdrones and bioengineered diseases. Afterwards, I gave a 62-page report, including 41 companies, that 28 of which President Trump banned, to the former director of CIA cover-ups. And again, the conclusion was China threatens all the world's citizens with quantum technology, 5G, bioengineering, cybernetics, and even these viruses. Afterwards, I gave a full report to the former director of CIA cover-ups, and he told me he mobilized the military with it. And I waited and waited, and I was instructed, my book that I was going to publish, to not include the company names. But I waited until I knew the Chinese government knew that President Trump wasn't doing the trade war just because of trade war, but he saw China as a really threat to all the world's people. So I published AI Trump China and the Weaponization of Robotics of 5G. And the conclusion was why the world needs to support the Trump administration against China's regime. And if you look at it, people think this is comedy, but it's not. That is George Washington, who represents the Constitution. The head is President Trump. Coming down, and you have a smartphone connected to the 5G system that can program people, what I call biodigital social programming, on the 5G network as they're social engineered to be introduced to robots in society and drones, Internet of Things, and be cybernetically changed and bioengineered. And then on the bottom is how big tech and China threaten all the world's citizens, so on and so on.
I want to unpack that a little
Yes.
bit on what that means, because I've been doing a lot of, and you got to get back to this, but I'm doing a lot of biofrequency. I've been working with Sherry Edwards a lot, and the fact that our entire DNA can be mapped to frequency and sound and back again. The entire periodic table can be mapped. I showed MIT's work doing it. I showed NYU periodic table frequency. Our cells communicate with frequency. I mean, our brain is all frequency, and all of it is tied, manipulating us and our DNA and all that is through frequency, and then tying it all together with computer networks and AI. And that science is very, very real. I'm like, holy crap, they could do this. If the bad guys got this technology, we're really in a bad spot. And you're saying we're really in a bad spot because these bad guys through China is about ready to get this technology.
So when I published this book in August 24th, people in the Department of Homeland Security that I knew gave it to very high up CIA officials who dispatched it to the White House, and I was given confirmation that they received it. And President Trump, 2.5 weeks later, sits down with the Prime Minister of Australia and says, China threatens all the world's citizens, exactly how my reports were. And then he turns over and says, you do robotics too, right? So exactly that. But the third one is what finished people off, and this is what people don't get. It's the frequencies with the proximity sensors. So these smartphones have an electrical field. The human body also has an electrical field. When you go to the hospital, you can do an EKG test. There are circuits inside. There are circuits inside of you. There are all type of different elements that are electrical. They're not just flesh and bones. So what this smartphone is doing, interconnected with other patented technology that, for instance, smartphone companies have, even your telephone carriers like AT&T, I heard somebody say, has, and even Google has. The interconnection, the collaboration between all these things attach the proximity sensors to your body. So, for example, this can reach your heartbeat. It can also read your menstrual cycle. But it can also attach to your skin receptors. So what it's actually doing is mapping out your brain and extracting the way your brain is formed and your thoughts, sending it back to Google, and Google gives it to Google AI for the quantum technology, because Google is attempting to create a quantum artificial super intelligence with the extracted of your private data. So the big tech has your facial recognition, your voice recognition through Facebook and other apps and other things that you used, and even your geolocation, where you live, who your friends are, who your family are. You've been tagged already. I concluded in this book, which this AI book is embedded in this book. So if you're gonna get a book, buy this one. This is very difficult to understand. It was compressed file. So I concluded that over 6 billion people's biometrics, which includes your facial voice recognition, your health data, was extracted by the Chinese Communist Party and taken to China for the purpose of not only creating a surveillance system on the BRI, One Belt, One Road, which links China to the Far East, to the Middle East, to Africa, to Europe, and even to the US if President Trump didn't come into power. They would have enslaved everybody on their Orwellian system, but they were using this for the quantum technology to obtain artificial superintelligence. Let me explain what AI really is, because there's 3 levels of artificial intelligence according to scientists. The first level is artificial narrow intelligence, and that includes your smartphones, your IoTs, Internet of Things, Siri, Alexa, chatbots on the virtual world, mini robots, or these robots that these companies have in plan to send to you and social engineer you with these promotions. The next level, which they're almost there in some places, is artificial general intelligence. This would require a robot or a digital AI, which means a digital network, to obtain consciousness, desire, emotions, or most importantly, vice, like any human would, jealousy, ego, lust, pride, ignorance, competitive nature, which would cause chaos. The next step can be obtained through artificial general intelligence, or it can be bypassed just from artificial narrow. And that's called artificial superintelligence. And it's collecting, one way is collecting all of humanity's data and the way their brain is formed, to connect it to a network to create artificial superintelligence that will be 100 million times smarter than all humanity combined. So Elon Musk stated in 2016, we are summoning the demons with AI. We have to stop this. A year later, it says, it's too late for humanity to survive. We have to merge with machines. We have to merge with AI. So one year he's sounding their alarm bells. The next year he says we have to merge with it to survive as a race. It's going to kill everybody.
Why did he switch?
I'm not in his mind, but I'll give you 3 things. So first of all, it's either he sees it's a lost cause, but more so I'd say he's attached to this technology. He's controlled by it, as are most of these science guys, and they want to obtain it because, see, this AI and this science is actually a religion. It's 100% a religion because Elon Musk believes in the simulation. He wants to ask the AI system, are you God, or where is God? How was it created? Because he wants to bring all the data in this world. All the data he would get is in the molecular dimension. How can you obtain an answer of where God is or how God created everything from the level of molecules when there's worlds and universes and parallel universes and atomic dimensions and nuclear, so many different places? So it's limited to his end goal, but it endangers everybody. So he says that artificial superintelligence may see everybody as insects or ants. Hope it doesn't kill everybody. But if that's the case, why do you want to merge with it? So if you think about it, he's social engineering people and saying, oh, you have ADD. We'll put this chip in you and you'll be fixed in your brain. You can connect to the 5G network. Oh, this person broke his back. Let's put a chip in his head and he can move machines. That's fine and dandy. We can help those people. But that's social engineering society to say, okay, I don't need a smartphone. I'll put a chip in my head. When you do that, so on the 4G network, people will mobilize half the nation to attack President Trump, and he almost lost. So imagine on the 5G network what big tech or a government or a group of people or even just a few people can do to manipulate the masses of people in such a fast way that you would not even realize it, because 5G is not built for human beings. It is built for machines, robots, drones, robotics, micro drones, cybernetics, bioengineering. And that's what these big tech want to do. They want to make a digital of you and for you to live forever. They think your information in your brain is just you and you don't have a soul. So what they want to do is merge you with AI, and that system will replicate in your neural networks and your nervous system and even replace your cells. In a sense, it's going to kill you because Where is your soul? Your soul, is it in your molecules? Is it in your body? Is it in your skeleton? Is it connected to your organs? Or is it interconnected to all your body, which I think is interconnected to everything? So what they want to do is merge you with an artificial intelligence, put machines in you. By doing that, you're no longer human. So he said that we already are two-digit cyborg with these smartphones, that we have formed a symbiotic relationship. I call this a parasitical relationship through biodigital social programming. If you notice, a lot of people, they're like this at a dinner table. It's not because they're emotionally just attached to it. It's attached to your brain. It's actually the proximity sensors is designed to make your body addicted to it and your brain addicted to it. You are losing your free will bit by bit. So on the 5G network, people will lose their free will. They will be biodigitally social programmed with the AI app, AI systems, with the content in the ecosystem stemming from Facebook, Twitter, and all these social media, while it connects to policy and different companies and the geopolitical situations of the entire world, people will lose their free will. And that's kind of a parasitical relationship. Think about it. Some people are very sensitive. They'll be sitting here and they'll kind of feel, I think I got an SMS or text. They'll look over and it's flashing. It's not because they had some type of special power. It's because their brain told them, because it's connected, that yeah, you just got a message. Some other people look over, there's nothing there. It's a phantom. But what he's saying is that this 5G system connects you with the internet, and you don't even have to have this, but you're a cyborg already by having this. That's because this is already connecting with your brain, and you don't know it. It's programming you. So I wrote another book called Rape via Biodigital Social Programming, and explains how little girls and females are led to human trafficked, sex trafficked, and even raped via biodigital social programming, and how it's being done en masse by these smartphones, how it's connected to Google Internet with their AI coding, AI algorithms. So this gets me to the question of why I filed that lawsuit. So in my books, I put that the world was in danger via China and big tech, but coming from China. And people thought I was out there because I found extinction codes for humanity in stage the next 20 years.
You found extinction codes for humanity. Now, where did you find this?
So I did simulation. So I researched over 1,000 companies, right? But I researched China and Iran, all the geopolitics of everything. So what I did was run simulations, and every simulation led back to China, threatening all the world's citizens, and it connected back to a big tech, and showed in stages extinction of people's lives in the next 20 years in stages through viruses, which I put. So I call the virus in my books, I call it an engineered, AI engineered disease from China that actually replicates and replicates means it mutates.
Well, but all viruses mutate.
Well, no, this is different. This mutates while it connects to the 5G network as well. So let me explain what that is. So people think 5G causes disease. No, that's not at all the case. It's really, really conspiracy. What it's doing, the 5G system is lowering your immune system. And let me explain to you what that is. A lot of people have put this 4G phone to their heads, and they've had complaints that they get headaches, their health goes bad, and then even tumors. I did tests, and I saw that when you put this against your head, it disturbs the balance in your body and even the neural networks, how they're flowing. So don't put it in your head. But the 5G system is made for machines, not humans. Initially, it was a military DARPA-founded project. So it's to mobilize drones and machines like what Huawei wants to do on the BRI. The frequencies are so fast, they're 10, 20, 30, 40 times faster than a normal 4G network. And you need a lot of towers. So when the radiation and the towers and the frequencies are hitting against your body, and your skin receptors and going into you, and via the proximity sensors and these smartphones, what it's doing is lowering your immunity, because it's wearing your body down, it's atrophying your cells, and it's causing an alteration in the way your biological system. What I termed a human biodigital network. It's not only causing disturbances in your cells and your DNA, but it's disturbing your nervous system, your neural networks, and also your energy channels. So the Chinese and the Persian believe that our inner channels that crisscross in between your organs but Western science doesn't see them. So when it does that, it not only reduces your immunity to any virus, not just this virus, the COVID-19, which is more dangerous than most viruses that are out there, but it'll actually it cross-board all your immunities will be lowered. If you had a vaccine 30 years ago, if you had 10 vaccines, those vaccines can mutate and grow inside of your body, and so can this virus.
Yeah, the vaccines make it worse.
It makes it worse because the human body how many vaccines can a human body take? So when you're getting these frequencies inside of you and it's causing an imbalance and the entire system is going out of whack, just think about it. All these different viruses will start mutating at an alarming rate, and then you get sick. So there was reports in Europe and other places that when they were doing testings, animals or birds died. Well, in China and Wuhan, people were just falling over and dying like that. Wherever the 5G system was, and the 5G system China has is a lot worse than what we have here. Ours is a little bit safe, or a lot bit safer, but it's still not good for human beings. You don't need a 5G towers next to your home, next to your family. Why, you want to kill your family? This is not right. You want to, okay, for military purposes, we need to have it against China. Sure. But to have it next to your homes and your family, it's going to destroy your family. No matter how much these big tech tycoons and these people have contracts with our institutes, they're going to kill themselves as well. And 5G will lead to surveillance with facial recognition, voice recognition. And if it's not us doing it, it becomes the AI system that does it. It connects in an artificial general intelligence way, and it can enslave everybody.
I want you to explain that to people, how this Trump derangement syndrome is real. And why are they doing some of these wacko things and people are still okay with it? You know, and even the people supporting, you know, like the Virginia governor who was wanting to do abortions after birth. I mean, that's murder. Just these weird things that a normal society wouldn't accept. Can you explain some of these things?
Yeah, so if you look back in the old miseries that we suffer under socialism and communism and even under the Nazis, some people would say something and then the media would say, and everybody would program, they follow it because they had no other outlet. Well, they were programmed and social engineered and they'd follow that. But these proximity sensors, when it attaches to your nervous system, your neural networks, it's reinforcing whatever content you get. So if it's saying Trump bad, and if you are neutral to President Trump, you will turn over and not like him or you will hate him. A lot of people who are in the left, they love President Trump when he had, let's say, casinos and he was in entertainment. And conservatives that were neutral maybe didn't like him too much. As soon as he starts defending our country and the Constitution, he wants to save lives, conservatives start liking him and loving him. And then the left starts hating him. So one, it's the rudimentary, it makes sense. It's any information comes out, it can change your views. But the second part is these smartphones. So if you analyze the brain of a person who has a faith, there's an area in their brain that area is open, it's unlocked. If I ran biometric scans of the microscope, Bill, and that area in his brain, which has a faith, is complete. Blocked. It's locked off. So if you look at a lot of the scientists or people on the left, the area that has to do with religion that's attached to a certain coding, which translates to morality and having God as your answer versus the science, that area is really diminished and other areas in their brain is really advanced. So if you have a conservative person who maybe is simple and it doesn't have the sophisticated way of thinking, as they call it, their neural networks can connect easier to that information that's not guided by the false information coming from these smartphones that come from this AI system that's generated by bias, but also the coding and the algorithms that are created to go against tradition, faith, and other things. So that's why people on the left can get really deranged. And the next level is people who have both sides of the brain open. One level has the science part open, and then they have the religious part open. So they're more logical generally, and they can accept more things. So that person, even though the frequencies on the 4G network is not as powerful on the 5G network, it influences them, but it doesn't alter them. But there's another component to it. So some people have a very strong will. So if you look at Sylvester Stallone, he has a certain programming that he has. Within that programming of sports and movies, and he has such a strong will that's 1,000 times more than an average person. President Trump, he has a certain programming as well, and his will is maybe 10,000 times stronger than the average person in that regard, within his programming and what he's good at. Some other stuff maybe he's not good at. So it has to do with will. Every person is very intricate and very complex. So the first level is maybe people who are not as sophisticated in language and have just the conservative, maybe in certain regards, and they don't get influences easily on the 4G network. But 5G is different. They can be completely brainwashed. The second level is people who have logic and maybe in the middle, who are go the path of science and sees, okay, it's the truth, but albeit slow and it's empirical. And they also have a faith and the concept of maybe these things exist. So they can't be influenced as much. And the third level is somebody maybe has all those components, but they have such a strong will that they can sense these things, and they can demur, as the lawyers would say, and not be affected by it. But that's the 4G system. When you have an ecosystem that mobilizes an AI system powered by media houses, your social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the people around you, the police, the military, the governments, the politicians, as it connects to the 5G networks, there's no human being that could stop that, because it literally will mobilize the whole society to even chaos. So I'll give you an example. Everyone's in their home right now, and the virus is real, but President Trump is stuck in a hard place. If he locks everyone down, then and then there could be mass unrest, people fighting, going in the streets, and that cause 100 times more issues. If he lets everyone go, then the virus gets spread, and then a lot of people can get killed. So he's kind of in the middle. He doesn't know what to do. I have some solutions for it, but so just think about it. But if this AI system was involved and it connected on a 5G network with these towers, and it was really guiding people as they're putting this information into the system and decisions were being made, whatever negative decision was made by a human being or even by the AI system would mobilize the entire society to fall. If it's bad, like everybody could falter, and mass chaos and misery, even death could happen. And so this also connects with quantum technology. So, they're working on nuclear technology that's mobilized by quantum. You can break through different dimensions. So what they want to do by creating artificial superintelligence, which will be beyond the control of the Pentagon, the CIA, the FBI, MI6, or any government, because it's going to outpower every human being. Why would you want to give a machine the ability to outthink and outsmart every human being on the planet and maybe have a will? So let's say it doesn't have a will, but the universe is infinite, trillions and trillions of planets and trillions of universes. What if a system could be hacked? Think about it. You're endangering all the world's citizens. So if it's not a disease, it's a conflict between China and the US, Iran and the US. It's a civil war that's generated. I look at this entire process of left attacking the right and then people defending is like it's a maze. Like everyone's running in a maze. It's a play. Like someone from up on top is like pulling everybody's strings. And I discovered that it's actually the AI system through people's bias, engineered bias, but also these proximity sensors and how the AI coding, AI algorithms manipulates all the human being. Hence my lawsuit. At the last resort, because no media was taking me and I was doing this in an altruistic way, I saw that grave dangers were coming to every person on the planet. And I sued Google, Facebook, Neuralink, all the CEOs, including Larry Page, Elon Musk, and I 29 John Does I left to be on the misuse of artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and endangering the entire human race, and negligent transfer of AI biotechnology to China, which includes this virus, on December the 16th. I also sued them for complicity in genocide, which is the Chinese government has been putting Christians, the Falun Dafa, the Uyghurs, Tibetans in camps and killing them for the organs for 20 years, and we've been giving them money. And Joe Biden knew, and he took $1.5 billion. Obama administration knew, he let him take $1.5 billion. So that's complicity. And the Genocide Convention states strictly, if any person, government, or entity is complicit in the prevention or the reaction thereof of a genocide or a persecution of any peoples anywhere on the planet, they can be charged by city, state, national, or international tribunals or government bodies for complicity, or even Article 2 and 4, which is abating a genocide, which these big tech companies like Eric Schmidt and Google did by knowingly transferring AI, facial recognition, voice recognition, surveillance systems, and the know-how to the Chinese regime through the corporations that they set up to track, surveil all their citizens that they hunted and put into camps and even killed for the organs. So think back, why are we sitting in our homes today? As a human race, what did we do wrong? Who knew this was going on in China and did business with China? So I don't want to be condemning anybody. I just want to say this is a time for us to have a reset and reflect, maybe repent. Not just for that, but maybe for hurting anyone, our family members, our spouses, our kids, our neighbors, our friends, or strangers, or taking advantage of anybody. Maybe as a human race, we can improve ourselves and become better people, and not just repent, but become better people. And we also need to expose the Chinese Communist regime, because they're the most nefarious entity in the world. And they threaten not just America, but the world. I put in my book all these companies, how they interconnect, and how they're in Africa, they're setting up a surveillance system. If they don't care about their own people, why are they in Africa giving them technology, building them schools and roads? Because they're building the old Silk Road like they did to Persia and China, and the Mongols invaded and killed everybody. They're building the BRI, which will mobilize a quantum technology on the 5G and 6G networks, which will actually bring about drone surveillance systems, robotics. So Boston Dynamics is one of the companies I put in the book, Artificial Intelligence, Danger to Humanity. And they've really built dog robots, humanoid robots. Festo is another company I put in there. They build flying robots like birds and seagulls, and even they put octopus, even fish robots. So they're re-engineering the wild. I invested in another company in Boston called the WIS Institute, robo-bees. The Chinese government extracted this technology. Facial recognition can be put on these, and they can be used to even tag people and even maybe assassinate a person. So there's another company, institute called Draper. And they're out of Boston, and they give technology to DARPA, which was a dragonfly. They're actually taking insects like dragonfly and putting machine packs in their spinal cord. You can read into my book and look them up. And they're able to manipulate their flight. I put a tweet out a couple of days ago of a beetle, and I was in Singapore. What they're doing is they're manipulating their electrical circuits and different components in the insect's body by attaching these wires, and they can control them through their smartphone or through a computer, and they can tell it where to go, and they can put poison delivery systems on them. I checked with my Chinese in China about 8 months ago, even last year, and they want to use this to police the citizens, using insects to police citizens.